What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to episode 7 of NPC Offline's Home of Play podcast, where three best friends join forces to give you all the latest in PlayStation news and reviews. And that's because we are PlayStation fans. I'm your host, Steve, and with me I am joined by the king of platinum trophies himself, Christopher.
Hello, hello.
And lastly, we also have 60 frames of Curtis.
All 60 frames, that's me. Yeah.
That is all 60 frames. If you like this and would like to help support the brand, we could use your help over on our YouTube channel. Please head over there. Just search NPC Offline, and we will be the first thing that pops up. Please subscribe, like, and leave a question or a comment for us, which we could read on the next episode the following week. Also, if you're listening to this on a podcast service of your choice, please leave us a nice review on that same service. We'd appreciate it very much. On today's episode, we have 5 topics to discuss, but before all that, let us begin, like always, with what we have been playing this last week, and we will start with Chris today.
Finally, Final Fantasy arrives in the mail. Jeez.
You didn't wait that long.
No, I know. I mean, there's times where I think I got in a game early, and it was like, I'm special, but this really hurt.
Yeah.
Especially when everybody's playing it, and they want to talk about it, and you're like, shh.
Well, and this was one of the games that did come early.
Oh,
There's
yeah, for sure.
Quite a few people I know that got the physical copy 2 days before release.
I had a couple buddies that got it a day before.
So even I was frustrated being a digital guy, kind of being like, isn't this supposed to be the perk of digital, is that you're probably going to get it first?
Yeah.
You know, wake up at, or whenever it pops up in our thing, but wake up at midnight or stay up and you can play it that night. And it's like, nope, my buddy's got it on Wednesday. And he's making fun of me.
Yeah. Well, at least I had Persona to hold me over, so
That's
that
true.
ended up being a good time. But yeah, so crack that open. I think I'm just under 20 hours. I think I'm chapter 14. I'm enjoying it so far. The story's great. Music's great. All that seems good so far. I can understand where people have complaints about the gameplay. I'm a hard person to judge right now because I'll take the shame of I'm playing it on easy mode first, and then I'm going to jump it straight up to hard mode. So I know the gameplay is quite a bit different.
I'm interested if that's going to break you as a human.
It might.
It might.
Just because easy's so weirdly...
It's stupid easy.
It's way too easy.
Yeah.
My only experience with easy so far was when me and Curtis did the impressions video, but that was a long time ago, so I kind of forgot. And then when I went to the Coliseum in Chapter 9, I did Clouds on normal to get his second limit break, but Aerith, I'm like, she's by herself. I'm just going to go in easy. She 2-hit killed everything. Like, I just couldn't believe what a different world I was living in.
It's really easy. And some of the bosses I've encountered, I'm like, oh, this is going to be rough on hard mode. But
Oh, yeah.
otherwise, yeah, it's been going good so far. Enjoying it. Apart from that, I flew through Dark Souls 3 New Game Plus mode, trying to get the last trophies in that. I say trophies, but I'm playing that one on PC.
Boo.
I know. Shame.
The shame.
But yeah, one of my buddies convinced me to buy it on that one so we could play together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm playing on there. I'm just trying to get the ones that everybody are waiting on, trying to get all the spells and all the rings and stuff. It's very grindy because you have to get the Covenant items, and it's painful.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my buddy to jump on just so we can get some of those out of the way. But other than that, yeah, those are the 2 games I've been rotating this week.
Sweet, sweet. And then we got Curtis. What have you been doing?
Only thing is just Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm a little farther along than Chris was. I'm chapter 17.
You're farther than all of us.
Yeah, I was hoping to have it done before we recorded this, but oops.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm having a better time with it though, after I realized that, there's certain abilities and certain materia that make your life so much easier, and once I found those, then yeah, I'm powering through. Like I'm on normal, and I haven't died on a boss since I think chapter 12.
Nice.
So, but I also did power level my characters to level 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're strong.
Yeah, I guess I'll just throw myself in. The only game I've played this week. Yeah, I didn't go back to Persona yet, so I think it's just Final Fantasy for me as well. I feel like there might have been something that I jumped to quickly, but let's say Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I'm still kind of where I was last week, where this is probably the most linear game I've played in a while. I can't honestly think of it. It almost, I guess the only thing I could think of, but it's not as bad, would be like Yakuza, where it's just, because Yakuza is a city, you have just alleyways and streets, so it's very like basic. But there they have like so much extra stuff you can visit. There's mini games out of the yin yang, stuff like that. It's obviously a lot bigger, I think, a Yakuza game. Sorry.
I am noticing that the side quests they seem really short.
Oh,
I know they're a lot easier because I'm playing on easy mode, but they're still really short.
In normal, I doubt they're any different. From my experience, it's very much you get the quest, go to that one location, beat whatever that location wants you to beat, then just fast travel back, and that is most. I don't think I've had a harder one. Like some, obviously, like the most clever side quest they had so far is, oh, thanks for doing that, but it wasn't the right type of rat, or it's, oh, awesome you did that, but there's actually another Drake, so just go back. And I'm like, okay, great.
At least when you complete the side missions, it gives you the option, do you want to fast travel back to the person who gave you the mission?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But otherwise, yeah, my biggest complaints are still it's linear as all hell. Like even just locking out side quests, if you leave that area, like you're never getting them again probably.
You have to do chapter select.
Stuff like that. I'm not loving the battle system. I literally almost rage quit through chapter 9's boss. But they finally opened up in a sense of being able to grind again. Now I'm, chapter 9, so basically halfway through, and my character two characters are level 40 now. So
are you at the whole Don Corneo thing?
I'm in between that.
Okay, that whole thing made me smile.
Yeah. So
I'm like, how can they make this as skeevy as possible? And I thought they did a good job.
Yeah. So I basically just beat the Coliseum boss and then grinded, and now I'm ready to proceed. Now that I'm level 40, I'm like, I feel safe. I maxed out a few materials. So, the rest of this game I might be happier with now that I have that ability to grind, because that's my number one. Every Final Fantasy I've ever played, grinding. Always. Most of the time, I'm almost always getting my characters to 99 before I beat the game. Except Final Fantasy VIII, when I found out it's not in your best interest to grind because everything scales.
Everything levels with you.
Yeah, so then I think that would be the only exception. But Final Fantasy IX as well. I loved, I think you brought it up too with your friend, that you could play multiplayer kind of.
Rotate combat turns.
So then that obviously caused a very quick level 99 for us because we were just grinding this one spot, I remember. So yeah, I think I'm overall slightly more positive, but still disappointed. But I'm going to hold off my full thoughts until I've actually finished, because I've heard whispers of there's more things that might bum me out closer to the end. After this is all done, and when Chris is not around, I want to talk to Curtis because he's further, so he might already know what I'm talking about and might have an opinion on that, but that's more spoiler stuff we don't have to get into right now. But let us get more into the news, and that is our 5 articles, and we're going to start with Final Fantasy VII Remake selling 3.5 million units in its first 3 days. Take it away, Curtis.
According to Square Enix, Final Fantasy VII Remake has pushed 3.5 million copies that have shipped or sold digitally. As the usual caveat is the number mysteriously mixes in copies shipped to retailers but not necessarily sold directly to consumers and digital copies. Square Enix has not revealed the breakdown between the two. For reference, the last major Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy 15, shipped and digitally peddled 5 million units within 24 hours of its launch and has sold 8.9 million copies to date. The pandemic we're currently facing is directly impacting Remake's short-term sales, but it will likely clearly have a long-term tail as well.
We also have to keep in mind, too, with Final Fantasy 15, it was on both consoles.
It was on Xbox and PS4, yeah.
Where this is just PlayStation right now.
Yes.
Just for some more context, since it's exclusive to PlayStation, I wanted to pull up some stats to compare it to. And Spider-Man, when that one came out, was 3.3 million copies in the first 3 days. So this one's a little bit more. As well as God of War, which one was also 3.1 million copies in the first 3 days.
Games.
Both big games. This one's obviously more... well, I don't want to say obviously more, but if it's feels more known to people, I think
It reaches it'll reach a wider audience because Final Fantasy tends to be heavy in Japan and US,
Yes.
whereas something like God of War might only be in the States
maybe
or North America.
Yeah.
I don't know how to think this is going to turn out. I feel like this has the people from old like us that do remember the original, that have that nostalgia, that are probably going to get it regardless of their feelings just because. But then you also have new people that don't really know Final Fantasy. Maybe it's their first one, or maybe they played 15, enjoyed it enough that they're like, oh, this is Final Fantasy as well. I'm going to pick this up. So you could have a bigger turn up because of that. I don't know.
Well, if people are basing it off of 15, not knowing how the original was, it kind of skews some of the audience.
Yeah.
But even with how 7 has been praised, there's a lot of people that hate it, but there's a lot of people that like it. It is, widely known as probably the best Final Fantasy. Like,
And
even I don't want to
this-
call it the best, but it's the most well known.
It's a fight that you see online all the time because you have the diehard 6s, you have diehard 7s.
The characters
I feel like
are
there's
definitely
one
the
other
most,
one I'm forgetting that some people sometimes throw in, but I hear 6 and 7 a
10.
lot.
10.
It could be 10. I know some people are late to the party. 10 was kind of their first thing. And don't get me wrong, I think 10's battle system is probably one of my favorite as well. The characters, not my favorite. There's so many throwaways. Like, do I really care about Waka? Do I really care about Kimaru?
just Lulu.
Lulu and Riku. I don't even care about Yuna that much. Like, she's important, obviously, but I just, yeah.
Well, the sphere grid, that's what it was called, right?
Yeah,
I love
that.
that.
Was unique too.
I loved it only because you could be so OP. Like, I remember getting to the last boss, and everyone, I basically, again, me grinding, everyone finished their spheres, and then I all had them, I think, go to Waka's, if I'm not, it's either Waka's or Oron, but basically they all learn quick attack by the end, and me, I'm not good with mini games, and the problem is they locked a lot of those end game weapons behind mini games. So I just said screw it. The end game weapons in that one would just allow you to go over the 9,999 damage barrier. So I just said screw it. I don't need that. So the last boss, I think he hit us twice before we took him out because literally Waka, Oron, and Tidus were all hitting him 8 to 9 times before he got a turn, and they were all doing 9,999 like every hit. So I love that system. You know, and again, this is a stuff where I think me and Chris argue about the linear nature that I find the remake in right now, where these other games, like, this is the crap I'm doing, and that's why I'm sure there's things we could pick out that are similarities, but 8, you know, I talked about a couple weeks ago where I have like endgame magics at disc 1 in the first area, and, you know, 10 having all these people learning different people's like abilities, and all of a sudden there's 7 and it just controls your whole experience. And that's what I think I'm trying to say when I say it's linear, and why it's a little off-putting for me compared to like my history with the series.
Feels more scripted.
Yeah. And you brought up 13 off podcast, and I thought that is the closest thing I have feelings where these are related in terms of, we want you to only get here. We want you to kind of be this level. We're not going to give you this material till later because it's going to make things not be an experience that we scripted. And so I think scripted is a perfect word that you came up with. Also, every map is a straight hallway, and that irks the shit out of me, so whatever.
This isn't a review. This is commenting on how it sold 3.5 million copies, or reportedly shipped and sold.
Need content.
I know that. But also, those numbers, because what I'm trying to say is because it's kind of like the most known Final Fantasy, the characters are the most known, easily most identifiable characters of all Final Fantasies. Also, because there's been the movie Advent Children, there's Crysis Core, there's Dirge of Cerberus.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many spin-off games that Final Fantasy VII is probably the most accessible to most people because the characters are everywhere.
Do you think that this would change Square Enix's opinion? Like, they were obviously already going into the next game.
Okay,
to
so that
prep
is
it.
not obvious. And when they showed this gameplay demo, I think it wasn't last E3. I think it was the one before that. No, it was last E3. My fault. Sorry. They basically had no answer. When people are like, well, are you working on number 2? And they're like, well, we don't really know we were going to do a number 2. But then they talked to a different guy, and he was like, well, we were pretty sure we were making a number 2. And it got really weird, and that was probably most articles that people saw after E3 is
When was that?
what was the plan. This is last, let's say, June. So yeah, a lot of people were confused as shit, like what the like map was for this whole project overall.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, one person they spoke to did make it seem like we were kind of just doing this, like this was going to be it.
And that's why it was branded just as Remake, not Part 1, until way later.
But you're right, Chris. I think where you're going with this is this going to force them to make more episodes? And I would agree with that.
Well, and then if it didn't sell a lot of copies, do you think that would have deterred them at all from wanting to make another one?
Yes.
I could see it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Money
so?
speaks.
If there's no interest there, why would they put the time and resources
Yeah.
in it rather than just make 16?
We're in the year, or we're at the end of a long time without real AAA games coming out. On top of that, you had quarantine. Is this game going to outperform other exclusives just because of that? You know, like Spider-Man, again, you told me the numbers, Chris, and Spider-Man was, you said, I think
3.3.
3 point. Yeah, so then this one's beating Spider-Man in the same time frame. I have a hard time believing just because Spider-Man's so universal. Like, you know, kids who can't even talk will point out Spider-Man, right? They just know Spider-Man
In
is.
the end, it'll
Yeah.
probably do better than Final Fantasy, probably.
But I just feel like, is this getting just extra points because those 3 points I brought up? Nostalgia for the people that played originally, new people that maybe just new to Final Fantasy as a whole, and then the someone in between where I have nothing else to play. Please, for the love of God, just let me buy a new game.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty quiet. There's not, I mean, Persona 5's not really it's not a AAA.
It hit number 7 on top most
Did it?
sold games already.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
But it's not, I don't think the average person would look at it as a AAA title.
I should say for the month.
For the month, yeah.
Sorry, not of all time.
No.
it's beating Grand Theft Auto 5.
In my eyes.
Yeah.
But
So,
yeah, it's so quiet right now. Everybody I think is just waiting for Cyberpunk.
yeah. But to end this, great for it. I'm happy it's selling. I'm happy people have something to play in the shut-in moment of the year. So we'll end it there. So let's move on to Article 2, and we are talking about Call of Duty Warzone. And that is because it's pitting suspected cheaters against each other. And from here, we got that from Destructoid, so I'll let Curtis read.
It's one thing to hear that Infinity Ward is out there perma-banning tens of thousands of Call of Duty Warzone and Modern Warfare cheaters, but it's another thing entirely to hear that suspected cheaters are now being intentionally matched against each other in a sort of fun-deflating purgatory. That's the latest step in the plan to deal with bad faith players, and while the solution isn't unique to Call of Duty, it sure is satisfying to envision. Infinity Ward is also working to give legitimate Modern Warfare and Warzone players more of a heads up that their cheater reporting efforts aren't in vain. You'll now be able to see an in-game message confirming that a suspected cheater you reported has been banned.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Everything about this, they need to add a spectator mode for that. I would seriously put money and bet on it and just have the best time watching cheaters get destroyed by other cheaters, and that would bring me nothing but pure pleasure.
Well, don't you have a little bit of voice chat in game too? Like, could you actually hear?
Yeah, there's proximity
That
chat.
would be nice to hear too. Just hear them raging.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Swearing at the other guy, you cheater, and the other one's like, you cheater, like, and then the other guy who sniped both of them, I cheater, and it's just ear to ear smiles, honestly.
Well, it's nice to know that your reporting efforts actually work.
That is really cool
Because
too.
in PUBG, when you report someone, usually it'll either be right away where they'll say, this person you reported is now banned, or it'll say, like, the next time you turn the game on, it'll be like, these are the people you reported. The legit ones are bad, not the ones that you reported because you're angry.
Yeah, because you're angry. He headshotted me 3 times.
So it says that they've been banned, but for how long? Like, is this just a 1 day, a few hours? It's not.
Does their ban mean they're putting them in this world where they're fighting each other, or they're actually not able to play the game?
That's what I'm wondering. Because, like, are you maybe put on a list that, okay, you've offended multiple times and now you're being thrown into purgatory.
Yeah.
That's what it's not mentioned here, but
it's like the lower cell of what's that mode when you die? You got to fight other people to get back in.
The gulag?
Yeah, so it's like the lower platform of
Perma
that.
gulag?
Yeah,
The pit?
yeah, exactly.
permanent gulag mode.
Yeah. I'm wondering, too, if these banned players, like, if someone gets perma-banned from a game, what are they doing? Are they like, well, I want a refund for the game? Or are they
Well, you're not
making
getting
new accounts?
You've offended the terms of service, so
Yeah.
they would have to do something.
So would they just make a new Activision account and go there? Like,
But
the game's
wouldn't
not
you have-
paired.
but
Oh, I guess it's paired
it would
with
have to
Battle.net
be.
now. But a console game, you wouldn't.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't
They would
know.
have to do a new
Because
account.
you could just make a new guest account or something, right? Or unless you need PS Plus to play the game.
I think you.
There has to be some sort of a
probably-
link to an account.
Yeah. I mean this has been happening forever and
Yeah.
all time, so I'm sure these people are
But I
getting
feel like
around
this
it.
article.
Oh, Steve. Soon, Infinity Ward will add a reporting option to kill cams and spectator views. So you could actually watch the guy, I guess, see exactly what happened. You'd be like,
Oh.
wow, that guy is a damn dirty cheater.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would. Well, and that would obviously help.
Isn't that a sad comment though? Like every Call of Duty forever's always had a kill cam. And it's like, we're going to add this feature.
Well, no, but
to
they're
Warzone.
adding the report to the
the
kill cam.
reporting, but they're also because I don't think is there a kill cam?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
I remember
you
watching
getting
you.
ganked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So this is just different for the spectator. Okay, my bad.
I'm just happy about this overall. I feel like this article's more, at least from my idea, it's going to be more PC centric. I assume that's where the majority of the cheaters usually always are.
I mean, you can cheat on consoles, but it's
But
a lot more
you can't
effort.
use bots and like aim bots and all that stuff, right?
Well, you can, but it's a lot more
You
effort.
would have to have
Like
a
a hack
home, You would have to
system.
have a
Oh,
homebrew
okay.
system and shit like
Yeah.
that. So
But those ones, I think, I honestly think those ones must get caught pretty quick.
Yeah, I assume.
yeah,
Or they're stuck playing in a world where everybody's on the same patch. I'm guessing.
Because I know there's a lot of neat features. I don't want to say neat, but I did read a separate article, not attached to this one, about some people being upset but also happy that there's settings to I guess take you out of what is the terminology they're using when you can play with Xbox and PC people?
crossplay.
Thank you.
cross.
So it can take you out of that because the same thing. People are having issues trying to play console and then going up against all these PC elitists and getting massacred, which, podcast hasn't existed this long, but I've been saying this since cross-platform was a conversation. I'm like, nobody wants this. Nobody wants this. There might be some guy who's like, shit, I bought an Xbox. I can't play with any of my friends. And then so he's, locked to his console. So I get that cross-platform play. But I never was like, who wants to play with PC? Especially when we're talking first person, right?
Yeah.
Like, who asked for that?
I remember back in the day when I was young, I was like, man, I had the PlayStation, but they had the Xbox, and they were playing Halo and
Yeah.
other games, other Call of Duty games, and it was like, all by myself.
And
So I was like, I wanted that crossplay, but I
Yeah.
never in my head ever thought I need to play against PC
no,
people.
I
never.
never even thought that was actually part of the conversation until people started bringing that up. Like, well, I want to play Titanfall 2 with my PC. I'm like, no, you don't. No, you think you do. You think you do, but after he's killed you 19 times in a row, you're going to be pretty upset. And not always. There's some games that I find if it's more movement centric, then I can actually perform. Like I do remember playing Titanfall 1 on PC, shock and awe. And I was playing with a controller, and I was always ranking top or second. And you would say that in the voice chat for PC2 and watch these people fall apart. You're a liar. You're a cheater. Then and I'm like, no. It's just that, this game's all about movement, and I have 2 analog sticks, and that will fuck up your mouse and keyboard any day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I actually read too that I think Infinity Ward has blocked crossplay because of these people, because there's such a high amount of cheaters on PC. I thought I read somewhere that it said they disabled it temporarily.
Maybe I could be wrong, but I thought I read that article
Yeah.
where people were saying that they're all opting out of
And then some people
cross-platform.
are saying, come on, give me an option so I can play PS4 against Xbox.
Yeah.
And just exclude the PC people.
Well,
Or if you want to play against them, you leave it as an option. But
yeah.
I could see how the company way up at the top where they would probably rather just force people to have a certain way as opposed to giving people options. 'cause
Yeah.
They don't want to
in
give
terms
people
of like an
options.
infrastructure, it'd be hard to try to separate. Oh, these people want to play with this, so you can have this console and this console. Like, no, they're just gonna throw them on the one server.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, because I feel like the first game that got into it, or at least from a PlayStation perspective, was the Rocket League, because it was at a time where PlayStation said, oh, it's not as easy to flip into Switch, and then they accidentally flipped the Switch, and suddenly people were playing with Xbox people. Now, I don't know if it was Xbox and PC people. From what I read or heard, it did sound more like, no, it's just Xbox people, and they quickly corrected it, but it also kind of took
like,
down
oh,
the curtains, and
it's just a
everyone's like,
Switch.
it is just a Switch. And PlayStation's lying. And I know why they're lying, right? That was always money. To me, it just made sense.
Yeah.
You have the highest selling console. You do not want to tell people that, okay, so Timmy that we made fun of, who bought the Xbox, who can't play with his friends anymore, you want him to feel like that, because then he's going to have to go buy a PlayStation.
Yep.
You don't want to turn on cross-platform. And I always understood that. I'm one of the few probably that was like, yeah, keep doing that. I don't care if you go. I never once was like, oh, I need to play with these Xbox people. Most of my friends had a PlayStation, or they had multiple consoles or whatever. But it's not like Xbox had a lot of exclusive reasons for you to need to own an Xbox, right? So a lot of people, at least in my circle, it wasn't an issue. And again, I'm a money guy, so I was like, yeah, don't turn on cross-platform. It's never ruined any of my experiences. So I don't know about the PC part. I just don't know if that has always been a thing, or this is something new where Call of Duty is like, oh, like, we're going to let everyone play, good publicity. Like, let's let everyone play together. But I think we're getting a little long in the tooth on that one as well, because we're not even talking about the cheaters anymore. Article 3, GameStop plans to reopen stores, cut exec salaries, and put everyone at risk, because hooray for GameStop. Take away, Chris.
GameStop has announced business updates and its plans to reopen stores and cut executive salaries in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. After originally keeping some stores open in defiance of certain state government orders that shut down all non-essential businesses, GameStop's retail locations eventually transitioned to a curbside pickup only model to keep its employees and customers safe from the coronavirus.
Sounds kind of simplistic.
Why?
Kind of more of an FYI, I guess. I don't know. Is it? Are they trying to make themselves look better? It's like we're cutting at the top so that people at the bottom can make salaries and come to work when they don't want to come to work.
This whole thing just sounds like, well, like we all know, if you're anyone who's somewhat in the know-how, GameStop's hurting.
They're struggling.
They've been struggling forever. They're the ones that I would love to see the background noise, but they must have been shaking Sony and Xbox to release new consoles sooner, because that's always been what's keeping them alive, is the next generations. And basically, Sony and PlayStation deciding to wait another 7 years again, which already was unheard of with the getting to PS4. We've never had consoles last this long before. So the fact that they did again hurt them a lot. And their weird idea to, like, let's sell Beanie Babies and bobbleheads to save the company isn't panning out, apparently. And they also tried publishing games. I can't remember if it was the submarine game, something in the deep. I can't remember, but I feel like they published some game. So they've kind of done everything. I think I remember when they tried to do cell phone plans and,
board games.
Yeah, they've literally tried everything under the sun.
They're trying. They're
Merch.
flailing.
Yeah, and now the console's coming out late. They're really struggling. Now the pandemic, closing everything.
People are just transitioning over to digital, or they're ordering more frequently from Amazon or online services.
Oh, and that's been hurting them too. And honestly, after this pandemic, where even more, like, we've already seen digital grow exponentially. I just can't imagine after this pandemic, there's got to be even more people that are now kind of understanding the convenience. Like, yes, I can't trade in games anymore, but I think as gamers grow too, like, how many of us are going onto sites to try to sell our games, or like how many people are tired of going to games? Oh, good example for me. Go to GameStop, or sorry, no, it was a different retail store, but I go there. I want to sell Kingdom Hearts 3. I wasn't happy with it. I've only had it for 1 week, so it's a new game. So I'm like, okay, I'll get, a decent amount of coin for it. and they offer me $20.
Not maybe a third. Yeah.
And I was
Just a
just super bummed out. And luckily, another place allowed me to, like, I think it was GameStop that gave me a higher price for it, just conveniently because it was the month of release. That's one of the rules that, again, these are some of the changes trying to fight the tides and their bad kind of persona out there. So basically, I'm just trying to say they're struggling. I feel like they have an even scarier future now that I think more people are going to be used to digital sales. And consoles are finally, hopefully, coming out, but I don't know how long this happens. So are we going to be able to buy consoles from open stores? Or is it curbside stuff? Is it strictly Amazon? I don't know what the next 6 months looks like.
It's hard to tell.
So they could still struggle, but anytime I see any company that you kind of know, let's say EA or whatever, where they don't have the most credible, morally like high people at the top. So I read execs cut pay, you know it's bad. Like, you know, fucking red sirens are going off at head office. And that's why also, you know, my answer to Curse is why is I honestly think we're there. I think if we don't get any more money, like, we're closing. And that would be sad in one hand, but if you're willing to risk your employees' lives, then, like, maybe this is for the best.
When was the last time you went to one of these stores? Like, I don't go anymore. I mean, back in the day, it was like, honestly, there's more content available now.
Yeah.
So if I'm interested in a game, I can look it up on YouTube or search it. There's better resources. Back in the day, I remember going there and be like talking to the actual reps that work there and be like, so what have you heard about this? Are people returning this? Is it a good game? What are you typing? Now I don't remember the last time I've been at one of these places, unless I'm looking for something like a used game.
But you bring up my point of, like, the part of them closing that saddens me is that, like, having that discussion with someone who's as passionate as me, and not always, like, you're not always getting the guy that's like, oh yeah, I played that game, but for a lot of times, if it's a bigger game, they probably have. And then so I feel bad for that employee. I feel bad that, like, that nostalgia that I have, those memories of talking them. You know, when I was a wee lad and we had microplay, I was in there all the time. Like, that's all you could really do in the little town I grew up in. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's a lot of my memories is talking to the staff. That's eventually how I got a job there. It was because I spent so much time there that the freaking manager looked at me. He's like, Jesus Christ, if you're going to spend this much time here, you might as well work here. So, you know, that's kind of how that grew and what got me more into games.
Back in the day when you could rent games for 3 days.
Well, exactly. Well, we lived off of late fees, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you brought up the reason why I'm sad about the closing, but you're right. When's the last time I went there? It's almost always only for collector editions or something special. But, you know, as I found out with Persona 5 Royal, Amazon does just as fine of a job. I think I got mine relatively fast, even with all the
you were worried because I got mine, like, I think it was, we didn't order it the day of, but
yeah.
I know I got mine, and I think yours came like a day or two
after
after
it was just after the weekend.
And
so
I ordered mine local. So.
And I, you know, waited long enough. What's another day?
Yeah.
So
you got the special card though, because you pre-ordered.
Sooner, I was on there
super
like
jelly
the day after it was allowed. Then that's why I had to do different site just to get it. But either way, I don't know. Curtis, do you have any input?
I got nothing.
Yeah, I don't think you buy too many physical games anymore.
The last time I went to any sort of physical game store, I lived in a different part of the city.
Oh, okay.
And even there, I never went because I buy digital.
Yeah. Yeah, you were more of an early adopter digital, I believe.
I mean, there's the people who they want that physical copy because they like to collect it.
But
right?
I think that number's shrinking.
It's
and obviously,
shrinking,
I think with their revenue stream, it shows.
Yeah, and you can find them online on any type of buy and sell type of thing, and you're likely to find it there for cheap.
Let's just jump in the next article number 4. Crysis, the original, being remade or remastered for the 3 consoles. Don't know how Switch is going to go because I remember that thing blowing up PCs. So that's going to be the funny one to watch, I think, is the Switch version. But enough of the title. Let's just get into it. And Chris, can you read an article from Destructoid?
Text found within the metadata reads as follows. From the makers of Far Cry Hunt Showdown and CryEngine, Crysis offers first-person shooter fans the best-looking, evolved, and innovative gameplay, enabling players to adapt in real time to survive. Crysis Remastered brings new graphic features, high-quality textures, and the CryEngine's native hardware, and API-agnostic ray tracing solution for PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and for the very first time, Nintendo Switch.
Weird that they said ray tracing at the end and just summed it up with like the consoles and the Switch, which there's no way they're doing that.
They must be just talking PC for that anyway.
For that, I just wish they would have specified that a little better, but whatever. I've never played the original Crysis. I have no experience with it. I think I played only multiplayer of 2 or 3, and that's it. Like I have no idea what Crysis is about.
It's the only one I played. I didn't play the second and third one.
Okay.
Was 2 and 3 on console? Because I want to say that the first one was only PC.
The first one, I believe you're correct. I know 3 came out for console. I feel fairly confident of saying that. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, leave a comment and tell me I'm an idiot.
And I honestly don't know, just because I didn't... I mean, like I said, I played the first one, but it didn't stick in my memory enough to, like, I need to look for the second and third one.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like a one-off game where there's more of a tech demo, but it felt like a one-off where it's like, okay, this is done now. We'll go make an actual game with the engine.
It did come out for 360 and PS3 in 2011, apparently.
That was the third one?
The first one.
Serious?
The first one.
Really?
Yeah.
I do not remember that being an option.
Neither do I.
That must have been downgraded like mad, though.
Oh, for sure.
It was on a different engine. It was on CryEngine 3 compared to CryEngine 2, which PC was on.
Interesting.
So it got a little bit of an update, I guess. But
Yeah.
I don't think it would have been the same fidelity or anything as PC, because that game destroyed systems. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Well, I guess the last time I played was 2012, which my card was able to play it then, but I think it might have only been 1080p. But 4K, I'm pretty sure you can probably still struggle with that nowadays.
Oh, for sure. I'm interested. Like, this game will all depend on when it drops. Because when it drops, then maybe that ray tracing is referring to the new consoles. Like, if it's after, you might get a PS4 port, and then you have the PS5 version. Does the PS5 version going to give us, something a little closer to what the PC is probably going to get from this remaster?
Yeah, it would be nice to see, because I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be hard for them to port them to the new consoles.
But I'm kind of interested. Like, I actually feel like I would try this.
Like, it wasn't the greatest.
That's what my memory is going to. I'm like, I don't want to play it.
It was a glorified tech demo.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was beautiful, and the story doesn't stick in my mind. I remember it gets wonky like halfway through, but I'm like, I don't think I want to play it again. It's just not on my,
especially not on a controller.
I will probably try the Crysis just from nostalgia fact that I missed out. You guys experienced it, so you're probably not as hype as I. And I don't even want to use the word hype. I'm not, losing it over this announcement. It's just neat, I guess. And it will all depend when it drops, because if it is a new console thing, like, I don't think I'd get this for PS4, but I might get this for PS5 if it's coming out at the same time I get my new TV as well.
and like, what are they going to charge for it? Is it going to be a full price game?
Oh, I would hope it would be smarter than that.
Come on.
Especially from what I'm hearing from you guys.
No, it's just not. I don't think it was worth it. It wasn't a long game either, if I recall.
No.
Wasn't it like 8 hours, if that?
Well,
it was short.
Well,
there.
Someone
that's
here,
any indicator right there.
Oh yeah, your
somebody
says 4 hours.
Somebody paid full price for Resident Evil 3, and that's an hour and a half.
That's very true.
I played it like 4 times.
Well, you can play this 100 times.
That one I was lied to.
Yeah. For reference, my Steam description here says that I played 4 hours, and I know I beat the game. So.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't. Although it was a pretty old game. Did you? Because the game didn't originally come out on Steam. Because I know
No,
I'm
it
pretty
didn't.
sure I had a disc-based version. So.
Well, no, if I played
But maybe
it
that's the first time you played it. Was
if
on
I
Steam.
played it 2012, I would have bought it right away too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty good at buying games and then playing them right away.
Yeah.
Okay, that's enough Crysis talk. I say we go on to Article 5, our last article of the day. And we are talking about a creepy-ass robot that is patented by Sony. And I just want to specify that this is not PlayStation Sony. This is just Sony as a whole. And they are patenting a creepy little robot to sit on a couch with you and judge you for hours at a time. And we don't really have an article pull for this one, more that we are staring at a weird picture about a cloud. It looks like a cloud buddy, and how he is going to sit on a couch, watch you play games, watch you watch movies, and react to how you are reacting to these things.
Well, yeah, from what I'm understanding, yeah, you could watch your TV, you could play games, and or movies as well, and it's kind of watching and seeing your reaction. Like, it might be used for maybe trying to judge reaction, and
I think it's supposed to more sympathize with how you're feeling. So if you're excited by a movie, from what I understand, it's excited. If you're sad from a game or a movie, same thing. It just empathizes, I assume.
It does say, so I guess this is part of the patent. It says a user places a robot nearby and views contents together, while the robot communicates with the user by outputting a reaction to emphasize with the user, or outputting a reaction against the user, conversely, on the basis of a deduced user's feelings. That's wordy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Welcome
I guess
to
it just
patent.
sits there. I don't know if you connect it to your TV Bluetooth or if it's just listening to audio.
From other things I've heard about it, is it sounds like it can actually play games against you. So I think the one reference I heard was something about like, I think it was MLB, and it was saying like, oh, it might be able to play the opposing team. And I'm like, okay, but then they also said something from how they took from it is if you pissed it off, it's going to play harder and probably try to own you because you made them upset.
So does it grow a personality?
So it's almost like a video game version of Chucky to me.
I'm also noticing too in the picture with the diagram, there's a webcam on that person's TV, so
Yeah.
that might also be a requirement maybe.
I'm thinking that's how it sees you. Like, I think it's just an object to make someone feel like, oh yeah, there's something here beside me, rather than just like
Yeah.
a box.
Or it's always looking at you. Wouldn't that
Maybe.
be awesome? You turn it, it's always watching.
But this line here, presumably this data can be used to create better emotion-inducing content later down the line. That is kind of what I could believe, like, especially if they're trying to do horror stuff or really sappy content, then you could actually see it, and it might actually be able to
the
communicate.
doll
and-
randomly looks at you and goes, "Ugh," at the scary moment.
Either that, or it sees you're crying and just reaches out to you, pats you on the shoulder.
It'll be okay.
like, I'm just, the way they draw it too, and like, I don't know how
It looks like a cloud.
complicated. Yeah, and I'm sure that's just to not reveal anything about it, because that it looks like it was made in the last 3 minutes of the patent.
Yeah.
But I still just think, can this thing get up on the couch by itself or get off it? And if it can, that's also scary as hell.
Is it actually like a robot, or is it just something that sits there that you hook up?
Yeah, like,
to
is
your
a final
console?
project just like maybe a sphere that you just put there? And I keep hearing it won't have a mouth. That's the one thing I think I keep hearing everywhere. So like, then the eyes emote. I assume it still makes noise, mouth or not. You can't stop it.
Tickle Me Elmo had a mouth.
But yeah, it's interesting. Like, this is more funny news than anything. I don't take this serious. And Sony's, like many companies, patents out the yin yang, doesn't mean anything. A lot of the stuff doesn't come out.
It's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't see them really doing that, but it also prevents your competition from being like, hey, what if we just made this robot that sits with you and plays games with
Too
you?
late.
Yeah, so it's like, I already got it.
I have to see it, but like, I kind of don't hate this. Like, maybe I'm the weirdo in the room, but I'm like, yeah, the same movies as me. I kind of feel like, yeah, it's a little weird because I want this, kind of like, hearing about this. Obviously, if it's fully animatronic, it costs $800. I don't want this. But if it's like a cheap little fun thing, I'm like, yeah, like, I don't know, like, it would be. It would have been amazing if they could have released this right now. Like, maybe this thing actually would have a chance, because in the world that
They're
no
in
one can.
quarantine.
Yeah, I
People
mean,
need friends.
and add weird features, right? Netflix has that party viewing mode. What if this, like, your friends could connect to and, like, that it's doing voice chat at the same time. Not that like you couldn't just do it on the phone already, but you know what I'm saying. Or keep the AI, or just you have that one kid that no other kid likes, and he needs a friend, and now there's something that plays games with him because you don't even like him either.
Wow, that hits hard.
Curtis was that kid.
Getting into more creepier side of things here.
Yeah, no, that was just a joke. But yeah, like I don't know. It's like I don't hate this idea. I think it's funny.
If it's affordable.
Whimsical. If it's affordable, I definitely agree with
If
you.
they charge like the same amount for like what's the Amazon thing called, Echo, and like the Google, if it's the same price as those speakerphone things, then I could see maybe people doing it.
Yeah, I guess it would depend on how technical this thing's going to be.
Yeah.
But again, I think I already said it. I don't think there's a chance in hell this is actually happening. But I don't hate the idea of it existing. I am worried about the creep factor of just having something that if you mistreat it, it's not going to like me anymore.
That's called your dog.
I was going to say cats are that 100%. And even if you treat them good, they still eat your face when you die. So, yay cats. But I think that's it for articles. Not a big week for news, but unfortunately with everything going on, I think this is the trend. A lot of slow news coming our way. So yeah, that's it for this week. Thank you for listening to the show. And until next week, your NPC Offline crew are signing off.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye. I totally lost my train of thought where I was going with that.
Been there.
Yeah, I know. As soon as I lost it, I'm like, I'm the new bitch. I also remember my point from before, and that is, I lost it again. What has Chris done to me?
Seriously?
It's one thing to hear that Infinity Ward is out there perma-banning tens of thousands of Call of Duty Warzone and Modern Warfare cheaters, but it's another thing.
Let's do the flare.
Yeah.
I saw it, and I'm like, you.